I have never felt more like a detective than I did in my time in Shadows of Doubt. I'm just going to talk about why this game needs to be in your library. Shadows of Doubt. I've seen this game on Steam in early access, and probably like most of you, I'm a little bit skeptical when you see early access. Those two words can mean quite a few things. Typically, an unfinished product that is not living up to the hype, and that you probably should just wait until the full release is out. I took a leap on this game for what it was promising, and they lived up to their promises. So if you haven't seen anything on Shadows of Doubt, let me just kind of give you the brief summary of it. And I played this game on stream, and my God, I had a good time of it. So the background footage you'll see is just me having a time on this game. So the reason I took a leap on this game is it sold the promise that you could investigate anything, anywhere, or anyone. That was interesting. Like normally in games like this where they promise this massive open world or sandbox, there are some limitations in the game. Buildings are blocked off, you can't really investigate them the way the game promised. Technically, you can investigate anywhere the game allows you to go, but they put up artificial blocks in your way. Whereas in Shadows of Doubt, they've put in the effort to really mean what they say. You can go anywhere and investigate anybody, whether they're innocent or not, which I fell into a few times, but it's all in a day's work. The focus of this game is not the story, it's the investigating side of things, and you will have to dig deep into your own logic to piece together these crimes. They are more sophisticated than you first imagine they will be. The game opens up and there's always a murderer in the city, so there's a crime for you to solve. And on the back of that, there's also side jobs that you can do to earn a little bit of extra money for like smaller crimes. You know, these won't be ones where someone has died, but you need to kind of watch somebody, get some information, or in my case, I had a few where you just had to go fuck up somebody's day and throw food at them. The game has so much content for you if you're wanting to do it. Does that make sense? It's not like there's side markers on your map for you to constantly do. No, it is up to you to seek out these missions. You can take on the workload that you're comfortable with, and that is a huge positive for me. Because see when you go in a game and you open the map and there is just markers fucking everywhere, that puts me off. I'm compulsive. I feel like I have to tick off all these things, and then at a point I get very bored by it. Shadows of Doubt, on the other hand, lets you choose the cases that you want to work, and then you can work them in your own order at your own pace. If you're getting stuck on one, pick up a side job, go do that, keep the cogs working and come back to the main murder. It's very fucking entertaining. The graphics of the game that you're seeing, yes, they're pixelated, however, do not let that put you off. Some people may not like that look to the game, but trust me, see once you're investigating and you're really into a case, you kind of forget the graphics are the way they are. You know, you don't just accept them, but you kind of just look past them. You know, you see the pixelated characters as fully rendered. It's weird, I know, but you just see beyond it. It's not something I can show you on camera, but just trust me, your time with the game, you look beyond it all, those graphics you accept, and this world feels fully realised. You know, you have got all the shops, the offices, the cafeterias, the restaurants, the apartments. You have got so many choices of where to go and where to investigate. There was points in this game where it would come up that I needed to go to investigate somewhere, and I didn't need to ping my map. I knew the city inside and out at this point, which I hadn't realised until I realised, if that makes sense. Like, at no part of me was thinking that I was coming familiar with this city until I had to go across the map to an apartment, and I didn't need my map to get there. I just knew the route off the top of my head. And that just made me feel more immersed in this city, because I was getting so familiar with my surroundings, the various people and jobs and where to go, that it just drew me in further and made me feel like I was part of this city. It sounds weird, I know, especially given the graphics and all that jazz, but I'd be lying to say otherwise. So when it comes to the cases and it comes to the murders, what can you do? Well, like I said, you can investigate everything, anyone and anywhere, but more specifically, you'll get a notification that there's a murder taking place at a certain house. Check your map, head on over there. Once you're in the apartment, you're looking for clues, anything at all, just to get yourself a few leads to get a foothold in the case and then take that into the city and start investigating who the fuck might have done it. And these clues can be anything. You've got fingerprints, shoe sizes matter in this game. If you see prints, that can tie somebody to a case. You can investigate the body, seeing which way they died. That matters a hell of a lot, obviously. You can also find out where they worked, their work rota, their timings, receipts of shops that they went to recently. And of course there is CCTV all through this city for you to look into. Whether that's in the restaurants, the shops, or the apartment, it will give you an edge in a lot of cases. You know, you'll see the familiar faces popping up. You know, maybe somebody is stalking the person before they kill them. You keep seeing a familiar face. You're going to lead into that. So once you've got your clues down, kind of where do you go next in this game? You need to start finding the people involved, and you can do that in a few different ways. You can go to their work, their apartment, or look at the directory that is at every phone, which is bloody useful, by the way. Great touch having that on every phone. This directory will have everybody in every building and work in the city and tell you their address. You don't get more than that because it's on you to look into, but at least it gives you a direction to run in to start finding more information out. And when it comes to the game, it is procedurally generated, which means my game is going to be wildly different to yours. The main cases that you investigate will have the same unique clues. Like, you do find quite unique evidence in these ones. It could be a riddle, could be a very specific message left targeting the victim, but the people involved in the case, the person who died, that's all generated, whether it's their names, their looks, their jobs, you name it. So I will be honest, I did get stuck at one point and try to look up the case. However, given that it seems like there wasn't many people talking about it, and the fact it was generated specific to my game, I could not find the information, which is a blessing and a curse. It might annoy those people that when they are stuck, they need a quick Google. It might not be for the full case, but just something to push them over that first hurdle, and then they've got the rest on their own. And maybe have to dig deeper, reevaluate all of the evidence I collected, and push on like a detective would. The game really sucks you in, it fucking does. And I've not mentioned it yet, the pinboard in this game for each case is unbelievably useful. The way in which they've given you the evidence, it is up to you to pick what you think's important. So again, there's no hand-holding in this game. If you stumble across a key piece of evidence but don't pin it to your own pinboard, that's on you. The game isn't going to highlight it as something that you need to keep a note of and it'll do it automatically for you. You are the detective here. You find the information you need, pin it to your board, and then you can customize this board, draw strings, connections, customize it how you want to make the case easy for you. I fucked up when I first played this game, let's be real, and I was just kind of pinning all the evidence, the people, tying it all together, and my pinboard was a fucking mess. So when I finally hit that hurdle and I couldn't go further with the case, I had a tough time going back to my pinboard to try and find a new lead because it was a fucking shambles. Take a tip here, when you start any case in this game, pinboard it neat from the get-go. Have a rough idea on how you're going to lay all this out from the start, because your pinboard can get fucking messy and a lot of clues may be needed. And you will find false leads in this game. You will get hooked on somebody. It happened to me, where you think it's a certain person for fair reasons, so you investigate them, everything about their life, turns out they're innocent. That's a lot of pinboard space and a lot of time spent on the investigation. Now, what do you do when you find somebody? You have to check off a few boxes. Well, for the main cases anyway. Those side tasks have their own specific objectives. You know, fuck up someone's house, do some damage, get photo evidence. It kind of goes case by case. But for the main murders of this game that pop up, you need to answer a few questions. What is the murderer's name? Where do they live? What was the murder weapon? What ties them to the scene? And very lastly, it's up to you, but you can handcuff them if you want. I would always handcuff them. You get extra money for it, and it just makes you feel like you're investigating a bit better. The game has its own difficulty setting and map size, so you can pick easy, medium or hard, small, medium or large. Completely up to you. You can also set your own kind of personal difficulty. I had one case where somebody had killed two people. One was a bludgeoning and one was poisoning, I was thinking. You know, that's what I was told when I inspected the second body. So I knew who it was. I had enough evidence to know exactly who the person was, but I couldn't find a thing that tied them to the first case. For the life of me. I looked everywhere, couldn't find something that bludgeoned them that had the same evidence to tie it to the case. I spent enough time on trying to do it. In the end, I couldn't, so I just arrested the person on the basis of everything else I had. You know, I tied them to the second murder, I had their name, and trust me, this was definitely the same person. There was clues matching it that it was the same person. So I still got the case completed, but I didn't get that weapon. And trust me, this was a digital simulated game. It haunts me in my dreams. I never got to know the murder weapon. Don't let that happen to you. So with it being early access, personally speaking, I know this may vary across the board, I came across two bugs. And that was either me falling through the floor, that happened on 2 occasions, and I just went down 1 floor. Not the worst case scenario, but it does pull you out a little bit. And the second one was I threw a weapon and it fell through to the bottom floor. So I had to go down and speak to the neighbour, get allowed in their house, and then go get it back. Not game breaking by any means, but very inconvenient at the same time. But I know that they are working heavily on this game, so when it comes to its full release, it will be ready for you. And when it comes to investigating people, my god, there's just so much to talk about. When it comes to investigating people, you can speak to them and ask them their name, ask for their fingerprints if they know suspects in your case, information from your pinboard. You can ask them if anything suspicious has happened. There's a lot you can do, and all that information is tied up very well. Not all of it will give you the immediate option to put it on your pinboard, so like any good detective, you take down your own notes on the pinboard and tie it up there. Does everybody in the game tell you the information they want? Do they fuck? A lot of people do not like the investigating side of things. They will shoo you away, innocent or not. I even had some guilty people, or at least like accomplices, be more than willing to help me as well, so it does vary. And if they don't tell you the information straight up, you can pay them to get the information you want, and that can be access to their home, or if you're in a shop you can get access to the building for a set period of time, of course, but it can give you that little edge you need in the case where you're not committing illegal activity, because although you're a detective investigating, you can still do illegal shit in this game and have the police come for you. The combat's not the best in this game. It's not what you're here for, but the combat is not exactly the selling point here. You know, you're not here to take down the police. My personal strategy I used a lot on my stream was throwing shit at people's heads.
Okay, it's one of these. Fuck, it didn't last long, did it?
Bins work the best for it. And that leads me into perk side of things. You can upgrade your character in a way that you want to. In the game, you're going to get a number of different upgrade modules, and typically these give you 2 or 3 options of what you want to do with it. So it's not that you're going to find individual perks. You'll find the option for the perk, and then you have to choose which one you think is more beneficial. That slight change was incredible, because it really makes you think about what you want to upgrade more and what you value more. If you find a second one, you can't then add the other option, so it is a case of either or. I had a couple that I value above anything else. Throw damage, it made the bins hit that little bit harder, and then secondly, not being impacted by fall damage. See, when you're up on the 15th floor speaking to a witness and you need to get back on the ground floor, out on the street and go investigate somewhere else, being able to jump off that banister without any consequence was a lifesaver. You can be injured in this game, you can be killed. And when you are, you wake up in hospital and you have 2 options. Again, the game is all about options. You can run out there, patch the bill, but then you are committing illegal activity, you'll be chased down. So if you think you're quick enough, by all means, save the money. Or you can pay 20% of the money you have at the time, and then you can get out and you're fully healed. Because you will be afflicted by certain things in this game. If you're shot, cut, you can be bleeding, you can break your bones, and these all impact you in different ways. It might slow your character down, you might slowly just be losing health over the time, and of course food and drink play a factor here. So you need to go around the city, make sure you're patching yourself up if you're injured, and then eating and drinking on the job. All of this costs money, and that will come in through your cases. You do get to customise your flat as well, so you can buy homes in this game, buy one that you like the look of as well. The game will give you one, of course, but you can move out and upgrade, and then you can customise the house however you like, adding in your beds, your furniture, your bathroom, whatever you like. After a hard day on the job, you want to come home somewhere comfy, and you can make it just the way you want. So it's got that kind of house building simulator to it as well for you. I personally didn't delve too far into that. I would just run home, throw down all the illegal shit I collected, mostly diamonds, and then run back out on the case. But the option's there for you. I did think putting things away, it would be good if you had an option for that, where you can drop things but it just kind of falls to your feet. You know, if you could interact with the furniture, maybe they each have their own item space slots and you can select things to move into it. And that way it's neatly on the furniture would be great help. Because I was looking through puddles of like upgrade modules and diamonds and various other things I collected when I needed something specific. And just very lastly I want to touch on the fact that it is procedurally generated means characters are coming with their own names, their looks, their jobs, everything else as I said. But that can both help and hinder the cases you're working on. People in this game, there's not any kind of standard rule on how they look. People can be various heights, looks, ethnicities, wear glasses, haircuts, clothing, you name it. And with it being so randomised, I know I had a case where I was looking for a woman, I had their name and I had to go find them, and I couldn't for the life of me. Turns out I was overlooking somebody, like passing them and genuinely overlooked them because they had the masculine features. Because it's procedurally generated, it can be anyone. So it is very important to take down their name and key information, because they can look like anybody in the end. Again, it's not a criticism, it makes you need to be a better detective and really take down the information. But it's worth highlighting that because it is so procedurally generated, that people can come out looking like anything of any gender, and it is up to you to work out who they are. So with all that obviously being said, I am loving this game. I absolutely adored it and singing it high praises. Because it's procedurally generated and you can pick your map size and difficulty, you can replay this game time and time again. Make it harder for yourself. You can roleplay as a detective that you want to. I personally played as someone that I would steal when no one was looking. I would ensure I stole from people that were dicks to me. If anyone got in my way, there was a bin. But you can roleplay and set your own rules. Are you going to be a completely legal detective that plays by the book? Or are you going to be someone that just does what they need to get the job done? Everything I've been saying, this is why Shadows of Doubt just works so well for me in a game that is in early access. It is very early on, but even still, what they've put out is fucking incredible, and that is updating constantly to just improve that experience further. I already had an amazing experience, so the fact it's only going to be better, maybe for those people that do wait until the full release, you're in for a fucking treat for it. Right now it is only available on Steam, however, they've not ruled out the possibility of it coming to console. So if you are a console player exclusively and this does maybe sound interesting to you, keep your nose on the ground for that one, because it may come to your platform. I don't know. I don't speak to the developers, but it's just worth highlighting. This is the first game I've reviewed here, so how am I ending this? Have you played Shadows of Doubt? If you have, how was your experience with the game? Hopefully it wasn't too buggy and you had a fantastic time through it. Or if this is one you're looking at, what draws you to Detective Sims? For a game that is this entertaining, it is coming in at a fantastic price. I would have easily paid double for this game, given the experience I've had since, so the fact that it's going out for the price point it is, this is your time to jump on it. I don't know if that'll increase when it comes to a full release of the game, so play it by ear. So look, with all that love and rant out the way about Shadows of Doubt, thank you so much for watching.